Welcome back. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to talk about logic gates. So when it comes to electronics, how do we make the machines think? How do they decide what to do? So they can either do if or and kind of statements. They can only do yeses and nos. So they can't give you like a detailed response, like explaining what they're thinking. All they can do is say is yes or no. And so what we use to do this is logic gates using voltages. So what we can do is we can have a series of circuits come to some point, and then the circuit can check to see, do we meet all the conditions? Are all the yeses we need to say yes, and all the no's say no? So, and they go by different symbols here, and we're not going to use all these in this class, but there's not, and, nands, ors, nors, neither ors. There's a whole bunch of different types of logic gates you might come across that help a computer think. Now, let me give you an example of how these things might be helpful and where they're used. So let's think about an AND gate. An AND gate would be a logic gate that could be used for like an entryway where you have like some keypad to type in your code to get access to the building. And so in order for you to get into the building, a couple things have to happen. One, you have to have a code. All right, so if you go up and punch in a 4-digit code and that 4-digit code is not right, that's not going to work. And so there'd be an input saying like, okay, did they type in the right code? But it's not just enough to type in the right code. You have to type in the code and you got to push enter. And so that'd be the second one. So if you think about an AND gate, the A input would be like, did the person type in the right code? And B would be like, did they push enter? And so a logic gate basically double checks to see did all these things check yes. If they both are correct, then yes, we let you in. So back to this idea of like a logic gate with the entry code. If you don't type anything in, so B would be like we could have B and A, B1 be the input for enter, 1 will be the input for the code. So we'll let B be the enter button. If you don't push enter, then nothing comes out. You're not allowed access. So if you type in the right code, so if you type in the right code for A, you type in your proper 4-digit code, but don't push enter, nothing happens. If you just push enter with no code, nothing happens. But if you type in the right code and you push the enter button, then the output is yes, you may enter the building. Another example of a logic gate would be an OR gate. These are very common. Think of it like streetlights. Streetlights have timers that help them come on. All right, so these are generally going to be OR gates because what they're going to do is they can go turn on under 2 conditions. One, they could turn on if it's the right time. So we could set the things to be like, okay, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., we're going to have the streetlights on. And so we could say that'd be one input. That could be the time input. A will be our time input. If the time is proper, it goes on. But it also could turn on if it gets really dark outside. So they have another sensor says, or if it's really dark, then we could turn on too. So one had to be between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. It might be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It might be a huge storm coming in. It's really dark, and it gets dark enough. The streetlight says we need to turn on. And so this would be an example of an OR gate. If it's the right time, or if it's just really dark, I'll turn on. So the OR gate will not come on if neither condition is met. So if it's a bright sunny day and it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon, the streetlights aren't coming on. But if it gets dark, or if it's the right time of day, even if it's still sunny out, it might come on at 6 p.m. just because it's supposed to, okay? So whenever you're looking at a logic gate symbols, they have different things. So the AND gate looks like this, the OR gate looks like this. Sometimes they put like a little circle behind it. That circle means not this. So an AND gate, both have to fit. For a not AND gate, as long as it's not both, it triggers. Same thing with the not OR gate. So for an OR gate, it will trigger yes as long as one condition is met. A not OR gate only triggers if neither condition is met. So you're going to get some questions that basically help you do a little logic. This is how computers actually think, the bits and pieces of what they're doing. So I got some samples up here first to take a look at. So here we have a series of logic gates. We have an AND gate and an OR gate, and then we have an AND gate at the end. And so we can change our inputs and figure out what happens here. So if we have an AND gate, if we have a 1 and a 1 coming in here, we'll say 1, and the way this works actually with electronics is it's voltage. Either it's high voltage or low voltage. So when I put 1 here, I'm saying there's a high voltage, there's voltage present, there's motivation here, and there's motivation here. And back to that entry key system, we have put the proper code in, and we pushed enter. So we are having an AND gate double check that and say, yes, we go on. It goes to the next system. We have actually subsequent check here, another AND gate. This AND gate will only say yes if the one coming from the top agrees with the one on the bottom, if they both are AND. So if they both are yes. So here we have an OR gate. This OR gate, as long as one of these things here is 1, it pumps out a 1. So these ones are both 1, so this would be a 1 coming out of here. This one here has at least 1 saying 1, it's an OR gate, so they both say 1, comes out as 1. If we take one of these things and say, nope, they didn't push enter, then all of a sudden, okay, even though this one says 1, this one on the top says 0, so we get 0 coming out. If this one's functioning, we get yes, but this one down here, neither one of these are working. It comes out as nothing comes out. So even though the top is saying yes, this one says no. This one needs both to work, comes out as 0. This one's a little nicer one because I actually have the intermediate output for what's going on. So here we have a NAND gate, so it means not AND. It'll be 0 if it's not both of them on. So here right now I have currently set to be both these things are yes, so this saying's no. If one of them changes their mind, it says, oh, then I can do this. So again, for a not AND gate, it'll be high output voltage as long as both of them are not 1. So this one can say yes, it still says 1. This one says yes, still says 1. But if they both say yes, then it's a no. The one bottom here is not OR. So it only says 1 if both are not on. If 1 comes on, then it changes to 0. So we can see that if 1 comes on, this is a not OR gate. Well, at least one of them's on, so it's going to be 0. If they're both on, it's 0. But if both are off, then it's 1. This gate here, at the last one here, I have is an OR gate. So an OR gate looks like this. And so this one's a not OR gate because it has a little circle here. This is an OR gate. As long as one of these is yes, it comes out as yes. So since the bottom here is a not OR gate and neither one is saying yes, it puts out a yes, so it comes out as 1. But if one of these things triggers, then nothing comes out at the end. So this one has a system of 4 checks going on. So again, I used a couple of simple analogies, such as like the street light and an entry code. But again, if you think about your computer and the decisions it makes, it has a lot of stuff going on. So think about like a computer program having a whole bunch of checks with a whole bunch of if, and, not or statements. And then finally, what you actually see coming out or what actually happens is a result of all those little logic gates. So if you like doing these kind of things, this would be a great job for you as a programmer because basically all you're doing is you're thinking in terms of yes and no statements. So, and that requires a lot of if, and statements or all this other stuff. So again, things you'll come across in this class here will be mostly ands, nands, ors, and nors. I think these are the 4 primary ones I'm going to use. If I have something else, I think I'll show you what they are. But again, an AND gate and an OR gate, the difference, the AND gate has a flat back. The OR gate has a curved back. So, but again, this might be something useful to reference as you're going through those homework times. All right, Godspeed.